Good morning and welcome to the March 28th, 2023 meeting of the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors. Please rise if you can so we can pledge to our flag. Supervisor Hubbard, can you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We did not finish closed session. We will be going back to closed session later on today after we complete the agenda. So we will move on to staff announcements. Lisa?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, honorable board members, and welcome to our new CAO, Lisa Medina, Environmental Management Agency. For the first time in Animal Services history, I'm very pleased to announce that we will be rolling out our Calaveras Animal Service Cat and Kitten Foster Program. This policy is going to be presented to you folks on April 25th, and just in time for kitten season. It's been a long time coming, and we want to make sure we have everything in place before we go live. There are so many advantages to this program. This program will enable us to reduce overcrowding at the shelter and dramatically improve our standards of care and health for animals in our custody. Our key goals include to raise the standard of health in animals and reduce euthanasia of potentially adoptable animals at CCAS by providing them with a safe, less stressful environment in which to mature, develop social skills, and recover from injuries and illnesses. And also to ensure that all animals have reached the proper level of maturity before being spayed or neutered and placed up for adoption. And I'm one of those persons. I just adopted Charlie from our shelter, and he is my love. To increase the adoptability of under-socialized cats and kittens by providing socialization and enrichment in a home environment, which is a little bit more comfy. We are very excited and looking forward to working with our community volunteers and advocates for healthy and content cats and kittens. To help us accomplish this effort, we are looking and respectfully requesting from our community the donations of the following cat items, and these include Miracle Nipple for kittens, the little mini size, kitten milk replacer, heating pads, enrichment toys, litter boxes, bowls, stainless steel and or ceramic. The donations can be dropped off at our animal shelter located at 901 Jeff Tuttle Drive. You can also call us at 209-754-6509 for more information. So the next announcement I have is our first rabies clinic, free rabies clinic, and that's going to be held on April 8th. Here at the Government Center. We will be joined by Dr. Jenny Ringett. The free clinic is going to be held from 9 to noon and here at the Government Center, and it's going to be a drive-through clinic. We respectfully request that all cats be in carriers and all dogs be on leashes, and it is open to our Calaveras residents only. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to call me at 209-754-6744. That is my main line, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any other staff announcements in the room?
Good morning, Board of Supervisors.
Good morning.
CEO, happy to welcome you, and of course our County Council. I'm happy to announce, I'm Nancy Giddens, the County Librarian, and I'm happy to announce to you that we've received a grant for about $80,000 through the Friends of the Library. That coincides with our park passes. You remember last year we have park passes in all of our sites, so you can check out pass and get into any state park free of charge. So the state library is really trying to encourage a lot of outdoor activities for families and children particularly by giving us an opportunity to do more for our communities than just give out these passes to people. So this grant will enable us to create 6 story walks. Now, you've been through paths in parks where they have the stands with displays of information. A story walk uses that same device, but it has a book on it. And you let the children and the families move along and read the book, and there are activities that go along with each frame. So hop to the next station and see what is happening in the book. So we're going to be able to put these in here at San Andreas, probably at our library or along the path. In Utica Park, I've already connected with Rebecca Callan and people there to do that. Murphy's Park, we hope, Mokelumne Hill Park, we hope at a location in Valley Springs, and then at the West Point School, there is a device that we can attach to the chain link fence, and so we'll have a story walk for the children there. We'll also be making adventure backpacks that will include binoculars and compasses and other devices that families might want, as well as books, bird books, tree books, and so forth to go in those. An astronomy kit that'll have nighttime binoculars so people can enjoy that part of our wonderful county, and other conservation and forestry backpacks that we'll create and provide. We also have noticed in our park passes that there are a couple of areas in our county where people have not checked out these passes. So we want to encourage that. And if we can work everything out with HR Risk, we'll rent six trips to bring children up from those areas, children and their parents, obviously, to the park. And we've partnered with the Big Trees Association there, and we'll have activities for the children, some conservation things, as well as learning projects for them. We have enough money in the grant to add about 30 books to all of our branches on various topics that relate to the outdoors and hiking and so forth. The grant enables us through the Friends to hire a part-time person to help us with all of these activities. So we're very, very excited. We're going to get going as quickly as we can on this so that we can be ready for the summertime and have all these wonderful adventures for our children. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy. Any other staff announcements in the room? Stan, no announcement? Okay, how about online?
There are no staff announcements online.
All right, we'll move on from staff announcements. We'll go to winter storm updates. John Osborne. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Honorable Board members, John Osborne, your Director of Emergency Services. I think our update is technically for the first set of storms, but they all kind of run together, so I'll cover both. Our first storm, now officially known as Data Report 4683, was the storms through late December and into January. Currently, our county costs sit at an estimated $796,675.34. This is the FEMA Presidential Declaration disaster, and so far, as of a couple of days ago now, we have had 451 applications for federal assistance submitted to FEMA. We have completed the scoping meeting for most of those projects. That happened last week. And actually, I've been bouncing emails with our friends from Public Works to answer some of the issues or the next processes in the grants portal to complete that work. Moving to our February and March storms, our estimate stands, including damage, in the neighborhood of $716,506.43. Right now, that includes 7 different county projects, including our emergency protective measures, Copper Cove Drive, Gwynn Mine, two slides on Gwynn Mine, and then our overall management costs. Last Thursday, Cal OES and FEMA came up and inspected our damage for public assistance. And now we're just waiting to hear whether or not the governor is going to request a presidential declaration and whether or not we'll receive public assistance. Barring any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions? Yes, Jack.
John, I'd like to thank you and your staff the last couple of weeks, especially on that Barney Way slide. That is one we have, of all the disasters, I think 17, 18 disasters since you've come on board, that was a new one.
Indeed.
And pretty scary. So thank you very much for your management and participation, especially with Middle River Community Service District and helping figure all that out.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate
Personal
that.
gratitude. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
We will move on to recognition and acknowledgements. The first one is a proclamation from Public Health Services. It's adopt a proclamation declaring the week of April 3rd, 2023 through April 9th, 2023 as Public Health Week, recognizing the fundamental role that Calaveras Health and Human Services Public Health Division, CCPH, plays in the well-being of our community. At this point, I will turn it over to Supervisor Follendorf.
Good morning. Well, Gary already read the title off for me. So, whereas National Public Health Week will be observed April 3rd through April 9th, 2023. And whereas the 2023 theme for National Public Health Week is centering and celebrating cultures in health. Whereas the Calaveras Health and Human Service Agency Public Health Division mission is to improve the health and well-being for everyone in Calaveras County. And whereas CCPH plays a fundamental role in the well-being of Calaveras County community. And whereas in partnership with other departments, schools, healthcare providers, and community-based organizations and groups to promote and work healthy behaviors, work and promote healthy behaviors and help our community prevent, prepare for, withstand, and recover from the impact of full range of health challenges, including disease outbreaks, environmental hazards, natural disasters, and barriers to wellness. And with that, I'll bring it to the board or the public for any comments.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Board, and good morning, CEO. Welcome. It's really nice to be speaking to you about something that's a celebration instead of the last few years that we've been through. So thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for accepting our proclamation. It is a time for us to be able to celebrate the work that our amazing team does and to really celebrate our community as well. And it really acknowledges the hard work and the passion of our small but mighty public health team. I would love for them to stand up right now. These folks, so yes, bravo. So it is truly my pleasure to work with these amazing folks. And, you know, we do everything. We always joke that if we're doing our jobs, you don't even know we exist, right? And so everything from child passenger safety to oral health to our emerging mobile programs and services unit that we've just released. And if you haven't seen our video yet, there'll be an opportunity soon. But it really allows us to lean into our mission, which is improving the health and well-being of everyone in our county. It's something we take really seriously. We are so grateful for the amazing collaborations that we've had also with our county colleagues, our partners in healthcare and business. Many of the folks are here, our partners in education, and our supportive community members, because, you know, it's in our title. Public. It's really important that our public is a part of our work. So as we rebuild our department and we reconnect with our community and we rebrand what public health actually means, we're going to continue to respond to all of the emerging issues that come our way. Hopefully they're not going to be as big as the one we just went through, but if it is, we're here. And we're going to keep the health and well-being of our community central to what we do. And to that end, we want to invite everyone here, everyone virtually, to our open house that's happening on April 4th, and we would love it if all of you could attend as well. It's from 1 to 3. It's at the Public Health Department, and you'll be able to learn about who we are, what we do, and really emerging issues that we're also responding to. And so, there's going to be a little tour. There's even going to be a raffle. It'll be fun. So we encourage everybody to be there. I can keep flyers here if that's appropriate for both the open house and for all of the projects or programs that we do. And again, I just really want to thank you for your acknowledgement. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to do it publicly. It's going to embarrass them, but I work with the best people in the world. And this team, small but mighty, has done amazing things, and they could work anywhere in the world. They're really talented, but they choose to stay here, and they're committed because they really want to serve our community. So thank you so much.
Are there any other public comment?
I wrote them down. But I don't have them with me today. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Good morning, CEO Hitchcock. Corey Allen, Health and Human Services Agency. And who was speaking right there was Colleen Rodriguez, your Public Health Deputy Director. I don't know if her name came out. But I really just needed to take a moment to say, in the time that I've been here, I have never, actually in my career, I have never seen a group pivot the way in which this particular group pivoted. And what I'm seeing right now is a pivot yet again into a whole new direction. I'm excited. I want to say thank you to Colleen and the team specifically for everything you're doing for and with this community. And I'm very excited about this proclamation today. So thank you.
Any other comments? Are there any online?
There are no online public comments.
And with that, can I bring it back forward? Okay, so I'll bring it back to the board, seeing no comments. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, 5-0. Therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors Calaveras County, the state of California, does hereby declare April 3rd through April 9th, 2023 as Public Health Week in Calaveras County. Thank you.
Thanks.
Just stand on the other side of the thing. Do a pan up.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
To see you outside. Look around. Guys, thank you. Oh, yay. Yay, yay. Good job.
Okay, Colleen.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to the next proclamation. This is a proclamation from Health and Human Service Agency. It's adopted proclamation declaring the month of April 2023 Child Abuse Prevention. Be the One Month in Calaveras County. And I will turn it over to Supervisor Garamendi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much to all the people who work in protecting our children in this county. This is, I think, my 7th time I get to make this proclamation, and I really appreciate it, and the event that accompanies it for our community. So, with great pleasure, I will read this. Whereas, based on research, the Be the One campaign can help build community resilience, one family at a time, and all members of the community have a role to play in strengthening families to ensure children grow up safe, protected, and loved. And Calaveras County agencies, schools, and organizations are working to bring attention to the long-term impacts of toxic stress and to implement trauma-informed strategies to support families. And families are strengthened through positive relationships, resiliency tools, knowledge of child development, and concrete supports such as income, shelter, food, and childcare. And child abuse is preventable when children have at least one caring, supportive adult in their life who believes in their potential and provides them unconditional support and care. And caring relationships have the power to build resilience, inspire, comfort, and transform us. And we all have the power to be the one today. I will call for public comments. Robin?
So I've got a couple packets for you guys.
Please.
Okay. So good morning, Robin Davis, First 5 Calaveras, and we're a part of Health and Human Services Agency. And I've just given you a packet, and the bulk of this packet is the presentation for the state of families in Calaveras that you will hear in the general agenda portion, and that will be given by Farrah Roberts. She's the co-chair of our Family Wellness Coalition. And we've been working for about 3 years, collecting data and kind of looking at all the issues. She's going to give you the latest update, and it should give you a good picture of what's happening for families in our county. And also in July, we will have a comprehensive child abuse prevention plan that we can start to implement. And the second part, the first page actually in your packet is a summary of what we'll be doing for April for Be the One Month. So we have our annual Light of Hope Awards, and we've been accepting nominations. We're accepting them until March 31st. And these are for people in our community who have been the one for a child. So they've been a safe and reliable nurturing support, a mentor, an advocate, or a parent, for a child. We're going to be honoring them throughout the month, taking videos, putting it on social media. And then the other thing on social media is Wear Blue Days. So throughout the whole month of April, people can submit a picture of themselves or their group wearing blue with the pinwheels if you want, and that's supporting the national campaign for Child Abuse Prevention Month is Wear Blue for Kids. And then we have the proclamation, and thank you for passing that. And as I said, we'll have a presentation in the general agenda. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin. Are there other public comments in the room? Any online?
There are no online public comments.
Well, I'll bring it back to the board. Any comments from the board or a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Supervisor Stopper.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Haverty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Now therefore be proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors, County of Calaveras, on this 28th day of March 2023, does hereby declare April 2023 to be as Be the One Month in Calaveras County. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Oh, thank you.
You know, the hair's changed.
That's good. They gotta be kept on their toes. Absolutely.
All right, we move on to the next item on the agenda. This is general public comments. Any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter and jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agenda may be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30 minutes allotted time period, the board will immediately move on to the next order of business. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued as the last item in the business in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of comments to be heard. So we'll open up for public comments. Is there any public comments in the room? No public comments? Okay. Is there any public comments online?
There are no public comments online.
We have no public comments. We will move on to the next agenda item. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion. Is there any board member wish to remove something from consent? No? Is there any staff member? Any staff online?
Not online.
Okay. Is there any member from the public wish to remove an item from consent? Any person online?
Not online.
All right, so we'll bring it back to the board. I'm open for a motion for consent.
Motion?
A motion by Supervisor Huberty,
Second.
second by Supervisor Fallendorf. Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We move on to the regular agenda. This is item number 22. This is an informational item from agriculture. It's receive a presentation from the University of Calaveras Cooperative Extension staff. And do we need a few minutes to set up? A 5-minute break to set? Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break for them to get set.
Sierra, which includes Calaveras County. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty with our video, so I'll still play the video, and then we have captions, and I'll read the captions. But, well, the sound isn't working for anybody. So we'll start the little video about UC Cooperative Extension. And I'll live narrate. So welcome to the University of California's Cooperative Extension Program in the Central Sierra. Did you know we're part of the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources? UCCE is part of a large network of university employees that for the past 100 years have been delivering the power of UC research to our local community. Across California, UC A&R boasts 3 agriculture experiment stations, 9 research and extension centers, and UC Cooperative Extension staff serve all 58 counties. Central Sierra Cooperative Extension employs over 25 staff across El Dorado, Amador, Calaveras, and Tuolumne counties. We offer local delivery of many statewide programs, including Master Gardeners, Master Food Preservers, California Naturalist, 4-H, and the UC CalFresh Healthy Living Program. In addition, our 5 advisors, plus some now, conduct research and deliver education to our community and includes topics such as forestry, fire and water quality, family consumer science, viticulture, pomology, integrated pest management, range land management, weed science, volunteer development, and youth development. Our local office can also connect you to UC A&R resources, such as the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Extension Program, UC Integrated Pest Management, California Institute for Water Resources, Nutrition Policy Institute, and the newly formed Organic Agriculture Institute. We're funded through federal, state, and county dollars. But to supplement our programs, we sometimes assess small program material fees, apply for grants, and accept donations. Local support is critical to keeping our programs afloat. True to the mission of the land-grant university system, UC A&R connects the power of UC research in agriculture, natural resources, nutrition, and youth development with local communities to improve the lives of Californians. And for more information, you can visit us at cecentralsierra.ucanr.edu. So that's just a quick little presentation about who we are. And then, new share PowerPoint. So I'm going to give you a little bit of our current statistics. Some of you guys already know many of the advisors listed here, but Scott Onetto is our agriculture, weed control, natural resources advisor. He's been with UC Cooperative Extension for 20 plus years. Susie Coker is a forestry and natural resources advisor. She's doing a lot of work on post-fire resilience and forest landowner stewardship. So how do people that live on the forest steward their land to keep their properties and their community safe? I'm Jolene Miller. I'm the 4-H Youth Development Advisor. I'm also the director, but I do a lot of research on volunteer development. How do we help our volunteers that work with youth, and how do we keep kids in 4-H longer? A lot of the research says that kids in 4-H have higher grades, less instances of risky behavior, happier, go to college more, all of those things. And so my research is how do we keep those kids in 4-H longer so we have those outcomes. And then newly hired is Hardeep Singh. He is a local food systems advisor, and he has a lot of experience working with UC Cooperative Extension in Fresno. He knows a lot about different small commodity crops. Cindy Chen is also new, woody biomass and wood products. So a lot of her research revolves around where do we take these products once they're off of our forest
forest lands and what do we do with them. She's currently working with UC Merced on a really cool project. I wish she was here to talk about it today, but she's not. Looking at figuring out how to make construction bricks out of some of these woody biomass products, and then really getting the community involved so it's not just the research happening at the universities. And then I'm here to introduce Flavi Abouan. She's our, did I pronounce that right? I always mess it up. She's our new livestock and natural resources advisor, and she started in January. I'm really excited to have her, and she's going to talk a little bit about her program. In addition, we have administrative support staff, 4-H staff, master gardener staff, master food preserver. Through grants, we have a whole forest and fire resilience program where we have program staff, and then we have UC Cal Fresh Healthy Living staff, all in the Central Sierra. So in the future, we are about to launch 3 new positions: the community health and nutrition position, integrated pest management, and indigenous disaster resilience. We're also in recruitment for more 4-H staff, master food preserver staff, and Cal Fresh Healthy Living staff. Really quickly, our fiscal breakdown, but I don't really want to get too into the weeds here because this is not what we're here to talk about, but Calaveras portion is the light blue pie. And so the point of this slide is just to tell you that what Calaveras County puts in, we get a lot back from our partnership with the university through grant writing and all of those other things. So in 2011, 2010, we had the recession, and across these 4 counties, there was a real potential to lose UC Cooperative Extension. And so what the government officials did at the time was to create this multi-county partnership. So we have pooled our resources with Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and El Dorado counties. And basically what we've been able to do is leverage your dollars to make them go further. And you can see through this chart that you guys are getting a lot more for some amount of money. So when we started this in 2009 pre-MCP, we only had about 1 advisor for Calaveras County. And once we finish these 3 hirings, we're going to have 9. They're shared across the 4 counties, but it's still a significant increase to the type and quality of programs that you're getting. So these are our 3 new advisors. I was hoping that we were going to have them all here today, but it's really hard to schedule 4 Board of Supervisors meetings with 4 people. And so this is what we came up with today. So Hardeep Singh, he was born and raised in rural India on a farm. He has a BS in agriculture and MS in plant science. He worked for the assistant, he worked as an assistant specialist to small farms at UCCE Fresno. And he has a lot of experience in a lot of different commodities, as you can see. His goal that he's working on for the county is to maximize environmental and community benefits related to sustainability and competitiveness of local agriculture. This did not look like this when I sent it, but somebody asked me about the, but it's okay. I think we have a different version of PowerPoint. It's all good. So he's hoping to serve plantain crops, including apples, pear, peach, plum, wine, grapes, walnuts, cherries, olives, vegetables, and other commercial products. He has an interest in controlled environment agriculture, i.e. greenhouses, food safety, marketing, irrigation scheduling, nutrient pest management. So these are all things that he's going to be able to help local producers with, and he has already hit the ground running. He's been there for many months now. I think he started in June, and so he has been working to develop this research and education program. All right, and like I said, Cindy Chen is woody biomass and wood products. She has a PhD in environmental and forest sciences, an MA and a BA in social ecology. She's focusing on wood products and renewable construction materials, biomass, bio-based products, carbon balance of wood products, and the life cycle assessment of product end of life. I wish I knew more to talk about
some of these things, but again, I'm a youth development advisor, so I do my best. So she's also developing the needs assessment for the region to accurately identify the challenges and best practices. She's working on grant proposals. She already has one with UC Merced, a proposal that they're submitting to look at these woody biomass construction bricks. And her goal is to increase public knowledge and acceptance of woody biomass utilization in wood products. One of the things she's also working on that she's really passionate about is developing a career pathway for students in the technical field. So she's hoping to work with the local community colleges so that we can get kids into these types of fields. All right, I'm going to transition and let Flavie talk.
Hello everyone, my name is Flavie Audouin. I'm the new Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor for the Central Sierra. I just received my PhD in Natural Resources from the University of Arizona with a major in ecology, management, and restoration of rangelands and minor in animal sciences. My research was about the seasonal grazing behavior, diet selection, and meat characteristics of ranch-fed Royal Marie Criollo cattle in southeastern Arizona. And Criollo cattle is a desert-adapted breed. I have 17 years of experience with dairy and beef cattle, both in France and in Arizona, 10 years of experience with Navajo sheep, which is also a desert-adapted breed, and then 10 years of experience in marketing lamb and beef directly to the consumers. So I've been here 2 months, but I've been able to meet with some ranchers and talk to some of my colleagues. And so my plans for my research and education program are to try to help the Calaveras ranchers with marketing their products. I'm already working on that. I'm facilitating a meeting between Calaveras ranchers, Tulare ranchers, and an organization called Roots of Change, which is trying to help ranchers from the Northern California to sell their products to high-end restaurants, universities, and hospitals. And this is happening on April 5th. I'm trying to investigate the viability of local meat processing facilities because right now this is a big struggle for ranchers. They have the animal, they have the customers, but there is no one in between to get the meat processed. I want to also provide information on how to raise small livestock because since COVID, a fair amount of people went to the store and found no meat on the shelves, and so they wanted to start raising their own livestock. But the issue is that most of them don't know anything about livestock, and so I want to be able to communicate some basic knowledge. And so right now I'm working with a UC group in building a website with resources to do that, and some videos to explain how you can raise livestock in your backyard. And I want to try to educate the Central Sierra citizens on the use of small livestock to prevent fire. So the potential impacts of my program are to increase the net revenue for the ranchers of Calaveras, provide educational tools to help the community with their projects of raising small livestock, and finally, try to prevent or decrease the potential impacts of fire in the county. So I'm just going to share a quick story from my experience in Arizona where the ranchers I was working with sold some lambs and sheep to people who wanted to reduce the weed on their backyard. And one time the rancher got a phone call and someone said, "Oh my God, I'm so thankful I bought those sheep from you. A fire just went through my entire neighborhood and my house is the last one standing." Thank you.
So the point of today is just to introduce you to our new advisors, to say thank you to Senator Laird and a couple of and most of you guys to say thank you for your work
the state legislature gave us a historic $32 million increase this last year, which is the reason why we have all of these advisors. A lot of that is because locally you guys have advocated for us in the need. Every time I've asked for a budget increase or any sort of things like that the last few years, the board resigningly comes back and says, we will when the state starts giving us when the state starts putting their dollars in, and I just wanted to let you know that they did. So thank you to Senator Land and all of those people at the state legislature that increased our budget, that got to bring these new advisors to our local community. That is it. It's purely informational. There's nothing to vote on. Just excited to.
You can ask questions.
Absolutely.
Is there any board questions?
Thank you very much. As a former 4-H'er, I always appreciate it. It might have been a long, long time ago, but it's been ongoing. Don't challenge me on if I can remember the pledge correctly. But thank you. Will you be working, are you providing these services? I know Scott, we all know Scott forever.
Sure.
Do you guys provide these services to all ranchers and farmers, including cannabis?
Yes, we're publicly funded, so anybody is available to attend any of our programs.
Great, thank you. And what is the best way to communicate with your shop if you're a rancher or small producer?
I think you could email me as director, or you could contact each one of our advisors. But if you go to our website, cecentralsierra.ucanr.edu, every single one of our emails is listed, and that way you can kind of pick and choose. But I could also send an email introduction.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate what you're doing. I only know one person who's pretty good at marketing small producer cattle, and she's sitting next to me. The rest of us struggle with that, but she's better at the internet, clearly. But what is the? Will you be, and as you research the small producers and helping them get to market, are you going to be taking on the issue of ranch, like better term, kill butchers or ranch butchers? Because there's always the chain of custody issues with that and there's not many people with that trade.
Yes.
There used to be.
Yes, so I'm going to meet with Amanda and the Board of Supervisors from Ptolemy, and we're going to talk about trying to find a way to provide Calaveras and Ptolemy County ranchers with an option for processing their animals. And so I have to navigate with the regulations from the state of California to see what are our options. There is some mobile slaughter options, but we just have to figure out which will be the best for the ranchers here.
Okay, and you're aware that there was a pretty intense study done about a decade ago?
Yes,
You have that.
I have the entire file on that, so
Perfect. Well, thank you very much.
thank you.
And Amanda will continue to teach the rest of us how to do this.
Any other board comments or questions? No? We'll open up for public. Is there any public comments or questions? Is there any online?
There are no online public comments?
Well, it was informational only, so thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for coming out here and introducing yourselves and your staff, and thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
And I do remember back in 2009, Ken Churches.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy that, we only had one, and it was Ken.
Yep.
It was spread out to all those counties, so he had a handful of work to do.
Yeah, so at the time, kind of each county only had one advisor. And so now with this kind of meshing of resources, we're going to have access to 9 advisors in the 4 counties. So
Great.
we're more than doubling.
Yeah, it's expanded as it went, so.
Yes.
By the way, Ken and Linda, his wife, used to be the auditor here. They live in Hawaii now in Kona. So,
Living the dream.
yeah, living the dream.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 23. This is an action item. The Clerk of the Board of Supervisors appointment of applicants to serve on various committees, commissions, advisory boards, and county services areas. Madam Clerk, you want to
Yes. Sorry, I'm pulling up the item right now. So we have, the main reason for this to be on our regular agenda is for the Parks and Recs Commission. We have 2 applicants for the District 2 representative, and that is Donna Vile and Kate Allen.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Kate Allen.
Okay. So the other ones all have 1, so that was the only one we need a nomination, and we have a second. So why don't we take the other 1, 2, 3 from mental health and 1, 2 from Parks and Rec, and take a motion and appoint those, and then come back and you can nominate and we'll take the other one. Okay?
Okay.
So is there any public comment on this item? Is there any public comment online?
There is none.
Okay, so why don't we open for a motion for the mental health and the 2 on Park and Recs that have 1 applicant each.
I'll move.
A motion by Supervisor Fallendorf. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Stopper. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. We'll move on to the 1 vacancy for a term expiring 12/31 to 2023. District 2 Rep. We have a nomination of Kate Allen. Is there a second? We have a second by Supervisor Stopper. Is there any public comment on this item?
There's none online?
There's none online, so I'll move back to the board. Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We move on to item number 24. This is an informational item from Health and Human Services Agency to receive a presentation about the state of families in Calaveras County. And again, we'll take another short break for Corey to set up. Is Corey giving the presentation?
Team is ready to set up.
It's ready to go, so we don't need a break? We need a 5-minute break? Okay, 5-minute break. All right, we're back. We're good? All right, we're gonna go on to item number 24. It's an informational item from Health and Human Services. Receive a presentation about the state of families in Calaveras County. Perry, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you for appreciate the opportunity to share the information today.
Mike's not. Is it on now? Yep. Okay. I am Farrah Roberts. I am today representing the Prevent Child Abuse Calaveras, a subcommittee of the Family Wellness Coalition. You may also know me as the program director for the Court-Appointed Special Advocates Program at Calaveras County. And child abuse is a challenge in our county, and I'm here to present to you the state of families and what it means as far as preventing child abuse in the county. You already received a packet of information that contains the slides that I'm presenting today, but it also includes the data resources that we use in order to provide this data for you. This is a compilation of over 4 years of work. We've been working on this and going deep into the issues regarding families, and this doesn't stop here. As Robin stated earlier, we are working on what is called a comprehensive prevention plan, meaning we're having to get all of the agencies together to try and kind of come up with an idea of how we're going to, as a county, prevent child abuse throughout the service agencies. And so this data is what drives that particular comprehensive prevention plan. This is data that we will continue to look at, we will continually reassess and figure out what is affecting families so that we can make sure child abuse does not occur. So as we mentioned before, the Prevent Child Abuse Calaveras, our vision is that every child should grow up safe, protected, and loved. And how do we do that? By improving the well-being of all families through safe and healthy relationships with homes, schools, and communities, all the places where families are touched. Why? This is the data. If you see the blue line and the black line, that is the national and state averages for child abuse per capita. Look at Calaveras in the green. We are off the charts per capita as far as child abuse rates. So what does that mean? This is the estimated cost to child abuse, for child abuse in 2021. $33 million. That's 10% of the county's budget. What would that equate if we were looking at prevention? 4,000 children going to preschool, paying for 4-year college tuitions for 230 kids. It helps pay for a median-priced home for 84% of the people in the county. This is based on 91 substantiated child abuse cases and 823 reports of child maltreatment. Substantiations are the ones who have been determined that child abuse did occur and are brought into the system. This resource is from safeandsound.org, and they continually update this. And if you ever wanted to look and see how it's moving, it has all the statistics for the last several years. So what does this cost break down? So we're looking at over the lifetime productivity around 39%. Healthcare, because these children end up in our healthcare system, our public health care system, 31%. Child welfare itself, 22%. The criminal justice system, so our court systems, 2.3%. And education, those are where we're helping the different children, it is 4.6%. So what do we want to do? Those costs are enormous. Can you imagine what we could do with $33 million on the top end of that, making it a proactive system instead of a reactive system? So for example, my organization, Court Appointed Special Advocates, is a tertiary program. We work with children who are already in care. But a prevention program would be something like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, where all of the children, whoever they are, can walk in the door and have a good time. You're saving money by doing that. So how do we do that? We need to build a strong community to support families, and that means in every neighborhood that there's somewhere for a family member to get support. Making sure that families have access to any type of service despite a crisis occurring. And then making sure that whatever door they come into, they understand trauma and how re-traumatizing people can make this an effect on people. Promoting awareness across our service sectors and making sure that resources are available across the entire community. And understanding that a holistic approach is needed. So what have we learned that families have needed through this data? So we use the evidence-based framework of the social determinants of health. I hope many of you have heard of these before. But it looks at economic stability, neighborhood and physical environment. So that means our park systems, our walkability, are there green spaces? Education, do we have enough resources? Food, meaning food access. Community and social context, so looking at racial disparities. We also looked at health systems. These are all things that if they're working appropriately, we can guarantee the health of people and the health of families. We do some things really well, so I want to highlight those. We are doing really well in our education sector with graduating students. We are also really doing well with graduating students with an IEP from high school. We're also doing really well with graduating our foster youth, so thank you to our school systems for this. And then when it comes to children in foster care, they're exiting to permanency within 1 year, meaning they're finding a forever family within 1 year. And our newborns are being born here at a decent birth weight. We're also strong in enrollment. So looking at 71% of K through 12 eligible compared to California. And again, our high school graduations are sort of superseding the state. And then people with age 25 and older, they have a high school diploma. So we are doing really well in this sector. But where are we having challenges? So looking again back at those social determinants of health, the economic indicators. Families in Calaveras County are living in deep poverty, higher than the state average. Children living in poverty is 16% higher than the state averages. The poverty is disproportionate based on ethnicity and race. Other issues, I'm sure this is not a surprise to you as well, housing shortages. But where we are finding housing, there's also overcrowded conditions, many people living in one home. There's lack of kitchen, maybe lack of plumbing. So the affordability of houses in Calaveras County are 18% spends more than 50% of their income compared to nationally 14%. California is just troubled with us comparatively. So things that are affecting our transitional age youth, looking at economic factors. When it comes to our transitional age youth, this is kids 18 trying to move on to their adult life. There's limited local resources for community colleges. Many youth are accessing colleges at Columbia College over in Tuolumne County. They may be going to San Joaquin Delta College, but there is just nothing local, especially if you have transportation issues getting to any of these campuses. There's also a culture that youth just don't leave the county. I know in my organization, I work with kids who have not even stepped outside this county and been to a local city. We also have a lack of housing specifically for these kiddos and a lack of employment opportunities for these kids. Other indicators are a lack of childcare. We are only meeting 35% of demand of the need for childcare for working families who have school-aged children. That is even worse if you're looking for infant care. So our working families who are able to find that, there's only 24% childcare available. So if you're talking about getting our workforce activated, they're not able to do that because they don't have anyone to take care of their child while they're at work. So health indicators. Calaveras County experiences a higher rate of mental health issues than the average Californian, and our levels of suicidal ideation and suicide completion are higher in this county, as well as asthma and teen depression. And then the percentage of youth engaging in risky behavior or being bullied are far exceed the state averages as well. Adult alcohol use and smoking is higher than the state. And this can all be reflected in our patient to provider ratios, which are low. We don't have enough providers to meet the needs of our families. And the rate of people with disabilities is higher as well in the state percentages. We don't have enough pediatric care, especially dental care in this community. We have little access to optometric services, especially for children. And in this county, we have no hospitals that birth children. And so for any complex or more expensive medical treatments, we have to travel outside the county as well. These are things that are definitely affecting our families. So looking at the ratio, mental health providers versus the state. We have 510 patients to one mental health provider in Calaveras County, where it looks at 240 per one in California. Primary care physicians, 2,190 per one versus 1,240 per one. Dentists, 2,320 per one versus 1,130 per one. So additional healthcare medical needs. Pregnant women who receive prenatal care during the first trimester, we're 34th. I want to point this piece out, the birthing hospital, the pediatric care, the pregnancy piece, because this is initially where a mom is going to get information about how to deal with challenges in raising their child. This is a key proponent in preventing child abuse. In Calaveras, we're ranked 50th of all the counties, and for children with who are using Medi-Cal but don't have annual checkups. That speaks to the pediatric care. We don't have pediatric providers who can give children who are under Medi-Cal checkups. Low-income children, 0 to 5, who visited the dentist, we are 55th. And then students who met 4 of the 6 fitness standards in our school, were ranked 19th. And then in hospital injuries, we are looking at 235 per 100,000 in Calaveras County versus 227 in California. Food indicators. Food insecurity is an issue for our rural communities, meaning that they have limited access to healthy food. So if you think about your own pockets and neighborhoods, you know, far reaches of Jenny Lind, far reaches of West Point, far reaches of Arnold, where are they going to go to get to their food? Does it mean they have to have a car? They have to drive long distances. And then if they have something in their neighborhood, is it a convenience store that doesn't have anything healthy? And then there's limited food pantries when food resources are low. And then our low-income children are accessing SNAP benefits. They're not. They're getting it at 77%. We're 37th in the state. With regards to our school-aged kids, they are reporting chronic sadness and hopelessness. They are also considering suicide. And then when it comes to kids with LGBTQ status, that number for bullying is even higher and alarming. So we've gotten some more recent local data. We've started a local community survey, and we looked at specific things that were under the social determinants of health. So these are the questions. Tell us about yourself. What zip code do you live in? What barriers do you face when living in Calaveras County? What community services have benefited you, and in what way? And what could the community do to make a better place for people to live and thrive? And would you like to have someone reach out to you? So we made this an opportunity, if they needed help, that we would try and contact them. So far we've had 67 responses. This survey is still open. We're open to hope to get more input on this. So we have the people self-identifying categories, either as students, or as parents, or as young adults, or seniors. And then other, those are the people who felt like they didn't qualify. Maybe they were an adult, but they weren't a parent. So broken by district, figured this was information. This is where we got the responses. So combined District 1 and District 5, we got the most responses from zip code 95252. Hard to break that down. Then we also got more responses in District 2. We need to get up the corridor a little bit more to get some more responses from that direction. So just as a key, these are some of the things that the barriers in Calaveras County, but I'll let you look at that specifically on your slides. But I wanted to point out the specific ones that kind of stood out more. I know this graph is dense, but as far as what the young adults are saying, income is their biggest challenge. Students, they're saying employment is their biggest challenge. Parents, they're looking for general recreation and access to parks. So that speaks to the social piece of it. So parents are, even though we had those statistics that say that childcare is a challenge, we had food access, but they're saying that we want some more ways to connect with family. And then our seniors, the same response. They're looking for connectivity. So there was a place for people to give some specific open responses. Overwhelmingly, people were saying they want connection with each other. I don't know if this is just a response because of just coming out of COVID and people feeling isolated, but I know, when I'm speaking to other parents, young parents, that this is kind of anecdotally what they're looking for. While we have a really good sports arena, we just don't have other programs that really support parents and families. And they're asking for that. They want safer parks. They want to make sure that when they're going out to locations that there's maybe even planned events for them so they can learn to build that social network for themselves. Who did they name as special and community resources that help them? They named their schools. So when we're thinking about prevention in the future, schools are doing really well. as far as graduation, and parents are identifying that as a place for them to get connection. So if we're looking at prevention measures, maybe what it is, we're focusing on that location. Local churches, WIC, food banks, Calaveras Transit, and the library. They're finding those as strong resources in our community. So what are the solutions? We mentioned that we're working on the comprehensive prevention plan, and that's what we're looking at. So we've identified the problems. Families are struggling to make basic needs. Services are provided after crisis occurs, not before. Youth, families, and seniors are isolated. There's lack of youth opportunities, economic and workforce shortages, and impede development of needed services. So we're looking at these pathways to change, hopefully, and reducing the need for the number of children in child protective services, reducing that cost, reducing that $33 million, increasing the opportunities for families to have what they need in order to protect their families. So what strategies can be implemented to support families? So as the Family Wellness Coalition continues to look at that, we're working on completing that comprehensive prevention plan, incorporating this data, and then making sure that we have evidence-based practices. And then we're hoping to continue to create spaces where agencies can collaborate so that we can make sure that this prevention plan continues beyond successions of people and that it remains intact. And we want to, this is for you, to continue to focus funding on supporting programs which help build up families and support for them. So, thank you. Questions?
Thank you. Is there any board questions, comments? Supervisor Garamendi?
You're perplexed.
Pardon me?
You're looking perplexed.
Oh, fair. Thank you very much for, you forgot in your introduction that many of us know you as strong member of our community as
Yes,
well.
yes, thank you.
The professional titles, and
Yeah.
thank you. That is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
That is a lot to take in, to say the least. Certainly, I know that in First Five, we've had a lot of conversations about the challenges of childcare. And I hope that we can, obviously you guys are working on that, but that has been brought up before as a need. And I hope that we can address that, be part of that solution from the board. Also, you talked about connecting people. And certainly, we will be having a conversation another month about parks and recreation. And that's much more than play fields. That's, when we met in our community, people talked about, senior movement classes and child play groups. All those things can be combined, and that can help maybe bring connections. So our board will be discussing these things, and it'd be interesting to see what we come up with.
And then you have the data now to back it, saying that this is what families want. So, yes.
Which definitely jumped out.
Yes.
Thank you. But I just really want to thank you for the presentation, and that was a lot.
Yes.
I hope that we as a board can be of assistance.
Supervisor Stopper?
This hits home quite a bit for me because, large families, we tend to grow out throughout the years and extend and everything else. And as a child growing up with physical and mental abuse and working on to be able to break the cycle and continue to struggle with continuing to break the cycle every day, these things really hit home. And even more so, these numbers are scary to look at. And we have to remember that, in comparing to California, California's behind the curve on quite a bit. So, we're even farther behind the curve on quite a few of these things. Well, we are leading in a few at the same time, just because of the hard work with the good people we have here that do care about the community. And I agree with Mr. Garamendi, just young single mother in McCallmy Hill with 2 children that would love to send her kids to Moke Hill Elementary, but there's no childcare in the Moke Hill area. And, those types of things need to be addressed, not just in that community, but throughout Calaveras. And we need to be aware of those types of issues and the struggle of single parents, not just, families in their entirety, and be able to connect with people and help them be able to connect with people as they move forward. Thank you for your time, Farah, and your devotion to the community. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And everyone else involved, thank you.
Supervisor Huberty.
Yes, thank you very much for that presentation. I just wanted to ask about mentoring programs and how one gets involved in a mentoring program to help.
Sure. We work alongside the mentoring program, but you can volunteer with the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program through the Calaveras Office of Education. Start with that. They have a regular screening process to make sure that they're matching youth who are nominated by people in the community who can be paired with a mentor who spends time with them. Speaking back to that idea of being the one, children need to have a safe, stable adult that they can rely on to learn through and to have a role model. And the mentoring program is one of the many programs that we have here that offer children that opportunity.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Supervisor Fallendorf.
Thank you for the presentation. It was overwhelming. One of the questions I had, and you may not have the answer, and that's fine. We look at a lot of what the statistics are with single family mothers and foster care, but what and how are we addressing more of the prominent families where these things are actually happening? How do you break into that cycle? Because they do have the means, and how getting that information to them to break that cycle, that this isn't.
I'm going to bring in my co-chair here, Maylee Johnson with Child Protector. She can speak to that. I mean, child abuse happens across every social economic sector.
Yeah.
It's easier to hide in people who have money, but I'll let you speak.
Yeah, Maylee Johnson, I'm the Deputy Director of Social Services. I'm also the co-chair with Farah on the Family Wellness Coalition. I think that's a very interesting question because we do know that research shows us child abuse touches every socioeconomic status. And it is a little bit harder to uncover and identify when those things are happening. I know from our prevention work, we rely a lot on our collaborative groups and our partnerships to bring forward challenges that they're seeing with kids through mandated reporting, through, the kids usually will say something somewhere. And at that point, it comes down to our faith that children are telling us the truth. And I rely on my team of very skilled investigators to figure out where that sort of lays, money or not. So I think when you're looking at child welfare and child abuse, it's the one thing where you can't necessarily rely on social stature or socioeconomic status to bring about any kind of resolution. You know, it really does come down to what's best for the child in that moment and how can we help support the families so that children don't have to come into foster care when and if at all possible. We want them to stay home. And if there's a way we can help support them through the community, through First Five, through education and help, we'd rather connect them and make that happen so that we don't have to remove children. And that's for all socioeconomic statuses. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other board comments, questions? Not, we'll open up to public. Is there any public comments? Question? You need to come up to the microphone.
I'm pretty loud, so I don't need a microphone. But the question I have for you guys is, you have all these marijuana grows, corporate marijuana grows, and 5 minutes down the road from the Calaveras Elementary, you have the biggest lice outbreak in this whole state without a nurse and without a guidance counselor. What are you going to do about that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other public
I
comments?
think I get an answer.
Any other public comments and questions? None in the room? Is there any online?
There is no online public comment.
Okay, well, we'll bring it back to the board. This was an informational item, and thank you for a great presentation to bring us up to date on what's going on with our families in Calaveras County.
Thank you. See you guys next year.
Thank you.
We'll give it a few minutes for the room to clear. Tony left. All right, we'll move on to item number 25. This is another informational item from Public Works. We'll receive an update on the countywide roadside weed spraying program. Robert Packager.
Good morning. Emma Bell is the county's safety specialist, and she will be giving a brief presentation on this.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Emma. I'm the safety and training specialist for the county. I also oversee the roadside weed spraying program for the Department of Public Works. A little bit of background about this program. The county roadside weed spray program was transferred to the Department of Public Works in January of 2022, so last January. This was given to us from the Department of Agriculture. As mentioned in your board packet, we inherited some pre-used pesticide, herbicide that was allocated from the Department of Agriculture. And we also inherited a pretty aged spray truck. The good news is yesterday we received our new spray skid, and we will be implementing that for our 2023 calendar year spray program. This program takes place once a year between February and June, and is strictly dependent on weather conditions such as wind and rain. In June of last year, the Department of Public Works received requirements from the Central Valley Regional Water Board related to the submission of the Integrated Pest Management Policy for the county. The IPM is an ecosystem-based strategy that focuses on policy for the county, and it prevents long-term prevention of pests. The direction from the Water Board stated that the county shall not apply herbicides containing glyphosate. So we cannot use any herbicides that contain glyphosate properties. In October of 2022, this requirement was adopted by the board through an update of the Integrated Pest Management Program. So what the county does for the roadside spray program is we use a pest control advisor, or a PCA, who identifies types of vegetation that need to be abated within the county right-of-way. The PCA then provides a written recommendation to the county that lists types of herbicides that will be utilized for the 2023 calendar year spray season. These herbicides include Esplanade SC200, Lifeline, Crosshair, Milestone, and In Place. Last year we did use In Place and Milestone, and they worked pretty well. All of these herbicides are compliant with the new requirements of the newly adopted IPM. And our CSA liaison, Jacob Lyle, it will be in communication with all of our CSA residents to get a schedule and make announcements as far as when we are going to start applying in those areas. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Supervisor Garamendi.
And I want to thank you very much, and I want to thank Public Works for your patience with me over the last 6 or 8 months while I have gone through this many times with you all. And I appreciate your willingness to work with us, as well as our PCA, and come to this. And I appreciate the fact that this board approved an ordinance to eliminate glyphosate from our blend that we use on the roads. It's always a balance between public safety in different forms. And so we know that roadside spraying is important for reducing fire threats in our community, and that's a major threat. We have to balance that with the chemicals that we're spraying, and that is always hard. I don't think, unfortunately, no great chemical exists to take on this in organic form. So I appreciate taking glyphosate out of there. I know Bayer says it's healthy, but they've also paid out, what, $11 billion in settlements? So, but claim no harm. So thank you very much for your patience, and thank you for the board for doing this. Please, if you do not want your property sprayed, please put your signs up clearly so the road crews can see them coming down the road. If it's hidden behind a bush, they're not going to see it, or call it in. But thanks for your patience, and I think we're making an important step in the right direction to keep our community healthy and balanced. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board comments? Yeah, I think Supervisor Garamendi, I would have the same thing on my mind, is make sure you get your signs up if you don't want it sprayed in front of your property, between your property lines. And if signs are out there and clearly seen by the crew, they will not spray. in front of your property. Some of the problems we do have, and I think one time it happened last year on Paloma Road, where because of it between February and June, later on you get in June, the weeds grow high on the roadside, it starts turning brown, you spray it, it turns brown. We had a fire because the weeds were so high and we didn't get them cut down. So just beware of that, and just make sure that if you're not going to spray in front of your property, that you go out and clear it so we don't have a fire because of a chain or something spark or what's going on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comments? No public comments in the room? Any online?
Yeah, I got a comment.
Okay.
I'm back again.
It's got to be on this item.
What's the item you're at?
We're on the item of roadside spraying.
Oh, okay, never mind it.
Okay.
I'm in another water habit item.
All right, so no public comments?
No public comment.
That's online?
Online either.
All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. This is an action item from an administrative office. Authorize the board to sign a letter of opposition regarding AB 338 to Assembly Member Calaveras. Yes, John Osborne.
Good morning, Board Chair, honorable members. Assembly Bill 338 is in the legislature at this time. The crux of the bill would change the definition of what is a public work and would include fuels management type work. We have expended somewhere north of $5 million in our tree mortality program conducting this kind of work, where we're removing the dead and dying fuels from our communities. And so our recommendation is that the board authorize the board chair to issue a letter to Assembly Member
Calaveras.
Yes, sorry, there's two. There was a prior bill for Assemblymember Carla and urge her or them to vote no on Assembly Bill 338. The downfield ramifications of this is most of our contractors in the tree mortality program are local vendors, small businesses, and this change in definition would severely inhibit their participation in our programs and many of the other programs that we have. Happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions, comments from the board? Any public comments on this item? Seeing none in the room, is there any online?
There is no online public comment.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. I'm open for a motion.
I'll move support the department's recommendation.
I'll second.
A motion by Supervisor Stopper, second by Supervisor Huberty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
Moving on to item number 27. This is an action item. It's from the administrative office. Approve a comment letter to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection regarding their fire hazard severity zone maps. Marcos. This is a hot topic for me.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Marcos Munoz, Assistant CAO. So I am here today regarding the recently updated fire hazard severity zones. On December 16th and January 26th, CAL FIRE held town hall meetings to discuss the newly released maps. Comments are being accepted until April 4th. Before you today is a draft comment letter that I am seeking formal approval on to send to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. The main purpose of this letter is to express the concern these changes potentially have on the residents of Calaveras County, including but not limited to the potential rise in insurance costs. Additionally, we are suggesting the state of California commit to a broader approach to addressing the fire hazard in the state. Also, we are requesting the Department of Forestry and the Fire Protection to work with the insurance commissioner, insurance companies to recognize when mitigation measures have taken place and provide reduced insurance rates for residents and local businesses. Questions?
Any questions or comments by the board? Supervisor Stopper?
Nothing, sir.
Yeah, I just have a comment that this will affect everybody in the Calaveras County with the increase in severity that are being mapped out now. Not only an increase in your insurance, but possibly even being cut from your insurance policy and having to go somewhere else, the state that's set up for fire insurance. This could have huge effects if it goes into effect. And it is supposed to come to us later on after it gets through the comment period and they make their adjustments. It's supposed to come back to the board from the fire service presented for us. So I'm looking forward to that, to our comments. But this letter is to let them know that, you know, their approach to it, I understand their safety concerns that they have because of the fires that we've been having in the state of California over the course of the last 10 years, and they've been increasing. But this particular thing, it doesn't matter if you do whatever you need possible on your lot. You clear it completely, you raise all the trees up, you do everything you possibly can, it still won't affect what this map says is fire hazard rating within whatever area you live in Calaveras County. It's going to affect everybody if it goes through on what they've shown at the town hall meetings on the map that they've shown. So those are my comments. Is there any public comments in the room?
Morning, board members. Rick DiBasilio, resident of Wallace. And this is a huge topic for me because I don't have a tree on my property. I have animals to keep all my grass cut down, but they have since raised my insurance rates over $1,000 a year for fire insurance when there's no fire down there at all. I have no fire hydrants around me. I have probably a 50-acre pond behind my house that they can draw from. But the fact that Cal Fire is stuck their fingers in the pie to say that we are part of this problem when we're not, I think it needs to be addressed. It's a huge issue, and you're absolutely right, Chair Toffanelli, that this is going to affect everybody in this county. We already know that with the fires that we've had in the county, so many people have not been able to get fire insurance. I think it's a travesty with what the state's trying to do to us.
Yeah, and the real tragedy is if you have a mortgage on your property, on your home or whatever,
yeah.
Most of those mortgages say that you have to have fire insurance to protect the mortgage.
Right.
And so it's going to be costing, it may cost you more than your mortgage payment just to have insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Required.
I got a public comment on this because I live around two.
You need to come up to the microphone.
I will. Because you know what, this is very important to me, because I had the microfire on one side and somebody burnt down the house on the other side, and none of us on that street had water. I came up here exactly a year ago to ask all of you guys what we were gonna do about it. You guys haven't done anything. So this is what I want. I want the commercial marijuana bills that I'm surrounded by that took all the water from me and my neighbors to go ahead and bring us all tanks and 25 water to be delivered all summer long.
Thank you.
I'll bring 1,000 guys if I don't get it.
Is there any other public comments on this item? How about online?
There are no online public comments.
Okay, I will bring it back to the board. Supervisor Stopper.
You know, I couldn't agree more. Mr. Toffanelli and Sheriff DiBasilio, you know, my insurance rates have been doubled twice since 2019, and those will precipitate that. I was lucky I did not lose my insurance, but at the same time, you know, there's the opportunity for the fair plan, which is not so fair, because then those prices would be as much as $5,000 a month for some people to carry fire coverage, depending on the value of their home and property. So this is very important. This is our public comment, you know, and I am fully in support of this, so I will move it for you, Chair
We have
Coffee.
a motion by Supervisor Stopper,
Second.
a second by Supervisor Hubbard. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Marcos.
Thank you, Marcus. We'll move on to the next item, item 28. This item, this item is integrated waste management. It's authorized the filing of a CEQA notice of determination and authorize the board chair to sign Phase 3 surface impoundment and Phase 3A expansion and construction of a contract with Ford Construction Company Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $9,520. Jennifer Cassie.
Good morning, Chair, respective members of the board, and CEO Hitchcock. Nice to see you. I'm Jennifer Cashy, Director of Integrated Waste Management. On December 13th, 2022, your board adopted the plan specifications, working details, and estimates for the construction of Phase 3 surface impoundment and Phase 3A expansion at the Rock Creek landfill, and authorized Integrated Waste Management to solicit for formal bids for construction. The Rock Creek Solid Waste Facility is a component of the county's critical infrastructure and enables the county to provide an economical resource for waste disposal, which further supports efforts in combating our illegal dumping. Rock Creek serves approximately 4,000 customers per month and has accepted approximately 117,000 cubic yards of waste during the fiscal year 21-22. As the active Phase 2B is nearing capacity, the development of Phase 3 surface impoundment and Phase 3A expansion will allow the county to provide a responsible, reliable, and economical waste disposal mechanism for the businesses and residents of Calaveras County for 25 years plus. On January 27th, 2023, Integrated Waste Management released the invitation to bid for the Rock Creek Solid Waste Facility, Phase 3 surface impoundment, and Phase 3A expansion. In response to the invitation, we received 3 bids. The low bidder, Ford Construction Company Incorporated, was deemed the responsive and responsible to the solicitation for the bids. Integrated Waste Management recommends that Ford Construction Incorporated be awarded the contract in the amount of $9,575,520. Funding for this project is supported by the Solid Waste Capital Improvement Fund and the County Capital Fund. Given the nature of the work and lower risk for unanticipated problems, contingencies for this project are being set at 5% of the contract amount, or $478,776. This project will be constructed and budgeted over 2 fiscal years. Current appropriations for the Capital Improvement Fund are sufficient to cover the fiscal year 22-23 expenses. The remaining appropriations will be added in fiscal year 23-24 budget. I'm open to any comments or questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there any comments from the board or questions? Supervisor Stopper?
I'll reserve it for after public comment.
Okay, you sit on the board or on our committee board, so. Okay, is there any public comments on this item? Morning, Matt.
Good morning. My name is Matt Brock, and I'm a San Andreas resident. Thank you for listening to me. And I've been a lifelong patron of our disposal system here in the county. As a child, you just take it for granted when you go to the dump with Grandpa and his ranchero or whatever. How convenient it is to have that open to us here in this county. And when I work in the city, went to college in the city, and you quickly realize that it's not as easy when you are in a city to go to the dump. And that's why in the city there's garbage everywhere. Okay, so I want to say that they do a great job down there. You're in and out efficiently, reasonable cost. If you drive around Calaveras County, it's my opinion, it's extremely clean, and I believe that this is one of the main reasons that that's the case. So I endorse what Jennifer was speaking about. So thank you for listening.
Any other public comments?
Good morning, Chairman Toffanelli and Board. I'm Jack Fiore. I'm with California Waste Recovery Systems. Yesterday, Dave Vacarezza emailed you, or sent you an email, I should say, and I know he met with some of you and wasn't able to meet with all of you, but I want to touch on a few of the highlights from that. And it's a little bit of a dialogue, I guess we can call it. What does the county want to be in regards to solid waste? What's the most efficient plan for the county? How best to reduce your liability? How can you develop a system that pays for itself? And what is an appropriate level of service for your residents and your businesses? Do you want to own the entire solid waste system, assume all the financial, regulatory, and responsible liabilities, or do you want to own the land and infrastructure and contract out some of it? What is the best solution for the county residents and the county businesses? Over the past few years, the administration here at Calaveras County has been in transition, to say the least. And it has not been, in our opinion, anyone who really had a thorough or ongoing continuous knowledge of the systems from the beginning to the day. Marita had a lot of historical knowledge. Robert Packinger, I think maybe he left. He had a lot of knowledge of some of the early days. Some of the rest of us have learned along the way, but there hasn't been any continuous train of knowledge, and I think there should be. The acting CEO tackled it to a point, but there was no outreach to the local vendors. There was no input from the community. There was no concentrated look at the finances. And now, as of last week, I don't need to say that we now have a new CEO on board. And how brought up to speed has she been in her very short time here? So what we're proposing is that maybe the brakes be tapped, and don't make this expenditure today, this capital project expenditure today. Set a priority for the next 100 days for the CEO to become acquainted with what's going to happen, what has happened, what's happening, and what needs to happen looking forward. Put together a group of residents, business owners, industry personnel, and fast track the training that she needs. Look at the whole system. Look at the commercial private haulers. Understand what Gamby does for you all, as well as what Cal Waste provides to our customers. Wouldn't it make better sense to hold off committing multi-million-dollar expenditures until this proposal has been reviewed and discussed before the board? And I'm going to run out of time before I get the next 4 paragraphs written. I have somebody else that I can hand this to, or I can take his time if that's acceptable.
He has 3 minutes.
Okay.
So if you want to hand it off, you can hand it off, but he has 3 minutes.
All right. Can I, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
Rudy Vacarezza with Cal Waste as well. So what Jack said, I think the solid waste operational budget is in dire straits and has been for a while. The solid waste budget has been running at a deficit. With this said, there's no master planning to make that change happen. There has not been any partnerships explored outside of just building this new cell within the county. The board tasked the integrated waste to do a survey and look at the system as a whole, and while that survey is in the books to be reviewed in April, this seems like a step before the complete process is looked at. I think the board needs to go on a bit of a field trip to Rock Creek and actually see what's happening there and at the local transfer stations, as well as privately owned transfer stations in the county and throughout the region itself, whether it be material recovery processing facilities, other landfill operations. There's another operator here as well, Kevin Basso with Forward Landfill. The regulations and liability continue to plague our industry related to disposal sites is something that the county is taking on. There's a lot of new effects related to organics within landfills and reporting requirements that the county is now going to be liable for that I think are not being considered in this process. There needs to be a financial review of this entire system, which has not been done yet. It's in the books, but it has not been completed. So moving ahead seems like putting the cart before the horse. So I think that, it makes everyone wonder why the taxpayer needs to be burdened with this system when there may be better options out there. And these are some things that we would like you to consider. It is the impact not on the county's financial sheets, but more of the impacts on the taxpayer and all the property owners and those that participate in using the system, like the gentleman that got up here before. So we would like you to consider all these options and meet with the public and not approve this today. So.
Your time's up, Rudy. Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Kevin Basso. I'm the general manager of the Forward Landfill in Manteca, California, 38 miles from here. We're a subsidiary of Republic Services, a very national environmental service company. We currently provide disposal services through partnerships and contracts with many jurisdictions. To highlight a few, we take about 1/3 of Sacramento's waste, 1/3 of Stanislaus County's waste, most of San Joaquin County's waste, all of City of Stockton, City of Manteca, City of Lathrop, and a large portion of Calaveras' waste today through our partnership with California Waste. We at our local landfill take about 1 million tons a year, about 4,000 tons a day. Modern landfills today, with the extensive environmental controls in place, require substantial volume to operate. This is why many jurisdictions and municipalities have partnered with regional facilities like ourselves to provide their disposal needs. Today, your county has options in front of you, and those options are solid options, which I urge you to explore prior to committing a $10 million expansion, which essentially will handcuff you from looking at options. And of course, the option I am referring to is to move your waste out of county to a regional site, as you have been to the Forward Landfill, and to look at that extensively, as Jack has talked about, prior to moving forward and committing a $10 million expansion. And again, landfills operate now as regional sites and require extensive volume. And quite honestly, this county just doesn't have that extensive volume. And so out of county, hauling your waste out of county to regional landfills makes a lot of sense. So we'd like for you to continue to explore that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other public comments?
Good morning. My name is Dave Vaccarezza, principal at Cal Waste. I just want to express that we're very disappointed at having not been able to participate in any part of the studies that are going on. You're here today to spend $10 million. But We do have an option here. I just want to read this to you. Since we haven't had an option, the opportunity to give you an option, we're going to shoot it at you now. Calaveras Systems is pleased to present this proposal of solid waste transfer and disposal for considerations as an alternative to opening a new cell at the cost of in excess of $11 million. At the same time, the county must fund an $11 million state mandate closure for the existing fund. Our proposal is the following. Cal Waste will provide Calaveras County with solid waste transfer and disposal services for $115 a ton. 2, the solid waste tons currently hauled by GAMI from the county transfer station to Rock Creek would instead be delivered to Calaveras Transfer Station at Double Springs Road. The tons would be transferred to trailers and delivered to Forward Landfill in Manteca. The solid waste, number 3, the solid waste tons currently removed from Rock Creek received at Rock Creek landfill from the general public would also be transferred into trailers and delivered to Forward Landfill in Manteca. The per rate ton would be valid for 12 months, and the rate would be adjusted based on the labor statistics, Bureau of Labor Statistics, Water, Sewer, and Tracts Index. 5, a mutual agreement for a formal transfer agreement must be executed between the county and Cal Waste, a minimum term of 7 years. And 6, an alternative will agree to provide a short-term transfer and disposal to Calaveras County on a month-to-month basis for $155 a ton. All other proposal conditions will apply. This proposal is a collaboration between Cal Waste and Republic Services and noted by the signatures below. And if I could give this to you. So this, since we didn't have the opportunity to sit down with the professionals that you hired, this has been a thought, and we've been asked, okay, well, what's it going to cost? Well, you're going to spend $10 million to open the landfill, $11 million to close one. This is $110 a ton. It's less than $2 million a year operating that landfill. I would appreciate it if you would consider us as an alternative, and really just some consideration to GAMI, Cal Waste, and the other 10 small haulers who are doing lot cleanups here around the county. There's no consideration given to us at all in this process, and it's very disappointing. But we stand here ready to talk and open discussions with the county at any time, and we're ready to go tomorrow. There's no studies, there's nothing. We can go. He's ready, I'm ready. There's the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other public comments on this item? Hearing none. Is there any online?
Yes, we have Evan Edgar online.
Good morning, Evan.
Good morning, Evan Edgar. I'm 40 years solid waste experience as a land engineer. Welcome to new CEO and on this topic. I was at Kern County and Yola County for 10 years as a landfill engineer. And when I was there, I decommissioned 5 landfills due to cost. The landfills are too small, too remote, and we had a regional landfill put in. And from 1993 to 1998, when all the new laws kicked in, most county landfills from Sonora to Susanville were closed to pivot towards recycling and transfer as the best economic model to take it to a regional landfill. About 2 years ago, I testified to your board about this, and that the county should look at a partial final closure of Rock Creek as an option. And at that time, Geologic presented a report. They have an economic model was presented, no model about increasing recycling and transfer to regional landfills in very awesome. At the time, Geologic tried to justify that the $10 million line with a tonnage model that grew from 181 tons per day in 2023 to 353 tons a day in 2040. Plus, Geologic had filed a SB 1383 regulatory report as mandated by state agency tax cycle in December 2022. And what that study shows, you're only getting 73 tons in 2022, not 181. And it's going to decrease down to 52 tons with SB 1383 because 75% of the organics landfill need to be diverted by 2025. Geologic had vested interest in designing a line at any cost, any economic model. And And when we drop it from 153 tons a day down to 73 tons a day, it's less tons, more cost, tastes expensive, less filling. Understand that the $180,000 spending before coming in April on how your solid waste systems work, and it should have that economic model. There's been running deficits the last couple of years in the solid waste trust fund, so it's timely to have the economic model put front. I would have been for the county to put this $10 million item on hold for a month until you can consider the landfill system as a whole with a $180,000 study. SB 1383 is changing the game towards transfer, regional landfill, and more composting. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Is there any other comments online?
There are no further online comments.
Okay, we're done with public comments. We'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Stopper, I believe you had some comments.
There's so many factors to consider as we move forward. I'm going to go back to, I'm not going to go way back to the beginning when overall we have an obligation that the people voted on, that they do want this to be a benefit for them ongoing back in 1990, 1991. But we moved forward to 2016. At that time, there was a contract signed with Cal Waste by that current board, so that actually extended the amount of time to have these considerations put forward. And Cal Waste has been diverting waste to Manteca or wherever else they drop it off. That has bought us this time, because supposedly that landfill is going to fill up by 2020 or 2021. Now we've bought time till 2025. Now we're at a certain point now where that time was bought, but there was nothing moved forward by that current board, which we take responsibility for now as this current board, when it comes to that economic model and the studies, or moving forward with the landfill and doing all this. So we're on a 2025 deadline. Right now I'm hearing a question to postpone another month when, we have this decision before us. I personally feel from my perspective, we still have the obligation that the people voted on. And it's important for us to continue that. I would love to see that benefit my grandkids in the future, your grandkids in the future, and everything else. Yes, there's a lot of different counties that want the other options, but, Tuolumne County, for example, as an afterthought, talking to the people from there, they say that decision was a mistake. They'll never be able to get that back once they've done it. The short-term vision and the long-term vision is something to take into account here. The financial status, which I brought up in the past during meetings when it comes to the structural deficit, we haven't been spending more money than we have. We've been spending more money that's come in and drawing down on what we have. It has been a reality, and at that point, we are going to address it next month, but that doesn't, we can look at cart before the horse. At the same time, the people voted and said they did want this. There hasn't been a vote that says they don't want this. We have an obligation to uphold that. Yes, we do need to do the fee study and make this pencil out properly. But all in all, I'm still with the obligation moving forward with this. And on such a short timeline, I really don't see waiting another month. Well, I heard two different things. Wait a month, but I heard 100 days, it's over 3 months. And that just puts us behind the ball on getting that sale done in time. And we have the money to do it. I'm in support of this. It's a substantial amount of money. It's not an easy decision, but I do fully support moving forward with this. And I do want to thank Jennifer for the work she's put in. You know, she came into here fairly new. I was a little nervous. She's taken quite a few steps farther, and I'm actually very happy with the work she's done, you know. So I do praise her on what she has gotten done and in the fashion that she's got it done in the short amount of time. Thank you, Jennifer.
Any other board comments?
Sure, could I ask, and maybe Jennifer could answer this, as to explain why the contract has to be done before the proposal comes in?
Jennifer?
What was the question? I'm sorry, if you could repeat it.
Asking, why does this contract need to be signed now, and then the proposal comes in? Why wouldn't we wait for the proposal and then do the contract afterwards?
If you could clarify what proposal you're referencing, just so I can understand.
The proposal that's coming in, the study, I guess, is it?
Okay. The review and the fee study, is that what, okay, I just wanted to make sure I was answering appropriately. As Supervisor Stopper indicated, we are on a tight timeline. We are filling up. This has been the plan set forward, moving since 1991, is to expand this landfill to potentially 5 phases. So as we move forward, this is something that I perceive as investing in infrastructure for the county, and which allows us more flexibility as we move forward to be able to, evaluate maybe different options in the future. But without this expansion, without this investment into our infrastructure, we really back ourselves into a corner of very few options.
Thank you.
Supervisor Garamendi.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Jennifer, and for all the comments. And I share the cultural history Matt described going to the dump with Grandpa. It is a tradition, and as a supervisor, it's at least a 2-hour trip for me now, because that's where you learn everything going on in the county. It's at the dump, right? I'm in support of this, and I'm in support of this because I think that this is an asset for the county. We have to approach our assets thinking about our grandchildren. There's a long history of this county doing penny-wise, pound-foolish things, because we might be in a pinch, and this goes to dams, this goes to trails, railroad tracks, things that we should have kept as a public good. We punted because it might have been difficult, and we never get those things back, just like Tuolumne will never get back their facilities. So we have to protect these things, and we have to always look at the future, think about our grandkids, and not think just, okay, we could save a nickel today, but we're going to lose $1 tomorrow, and we'll lose our opportunities in the future. We have a long history of this county of having people from the valley say, trust me, it'll be okay. Trust me, we're going to build a Hogan Reservoir, and you'll get anything. Your water's fine, or any of our other dams, or any major infrastructures. Give up your railroad tracks. You really don't need those for your community and economic development. And I just think we need to be done with that. And I think we need to take care of ourselves in this county and think about 50, 60 years in the future. So I'm in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garamendi.
Supervisor Stopper?
Thank you, Mr. Garamendi.
Supervisor Collinsworth.
Well, I don't want to overtalk on Ben. First, I'd like to say thank you, Dave. I've met with Dave a couple times now and discussed and talked about some of these concerns. But I do, and I've expressed this to Dave as well, and the other members of the group. I'm concerned about losing the asset that we have. And I recognize that there's a great liability, but I do not want to be the model that Tuolumne has found themselves in. But it doesn't mean that we can't in the future discuss the partnerships of what that looks like. We have a lot of mandates and regulations that will be coming down. And why can't we be a regional for some of those items that are going to be coming? There is no location for solo disposal. We need to focus on food waste. So why can't we be that regional facility in partnership and look at what those models look like in the next comprehensive study to maximize that. But at the end of the day, if we don't secure the current asset and invest in it, knowing what those liabilities are, I don't think we can become that. We can't help our neighbors in trying to find different opportunities. And so I'm very well aware, I think as I started to dive more into this, a lot of my questions start to become into the next discussion we're going to be having. And I know it feels like we're putting the horse before the cart, but I'm looking forward to the next discussion that's going to be having in the next month or two on the comprehensive review, which I feel these discussions are going to be coming in front of us. It is a difficult one, and I know it's a large sum of money, and those dollars equate to also not just opening but closing. But at the end of the day, I don't want to find us in this situation where we don't have that asset anymore.
Thank you, Supervisor Follendorf. And with that, I'm open for a motion.
If I may, Mr. Chair, one more thing before I make the motion. You know, to further down this with the fee schedule coming in the future, we have to be, I'm appreciative of Cal Waste's partnership to this point and getting us through to this point. We would have never made it to this point without you. And something that Ms. Follendorf brought up with the partnership in the future, I think that, you know, us doing a beneficial way for the business and for the community at the same time is something definitely worth considering, especially going to this fee study in April. Because at the same time, you know, we have to make that bottom line zero, but we need to do it in an economic way so that we aren't overcharging our county residents, and we have to be pragmatic in how we do that in our consideration. So I think that's something that we're going to have to move forward on cautiously also at the same time. It's part of the big picture. So with that, Mr. Toffenay, I'll make a motion in support of this contract.
Motion by Supervisor Stopper. I'm looking for a second.
I'll second it.
A second by Supervisor Garamendi. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. We will move on to item number 29. This is an action item from County Council. Introduce and waive the first reading and authorize summary publication of an ordinance adding Chapter 9.25, Protection of Critical Infrastructure, to the Title IX Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare of Calaveras County Code. Sarah.
Good morning. I think it's still morning, yes. Good morning, Chair Toffenelli, Board. This item is to introduce, waive first reading of an ordinance which would add a new chapter to County Code entitled Protection of Critical Infrastructure. And what this ordinance would do is give county staff the ability to remove debris, encampments, property that is left on public property in locations that are designated as either critical infrastructure or which are high fire risk areas or waterways. And the intention of this ordinance is to provide the county with an additional tool to address activities which may be related to individuals camping or establishing encampments or leaving debris or property on public property, which may then result in damage to public infrastructure, community resources, or other negative impacts, high fire risk or causing flooding. The intention of this ordinance is not to criminalize homelessness or being unhoused or sleeping outside. It does not ban those activities, on all public property within the county or anything like that. It really gives the county a tool to deal with accumulations of property and debris that are causing unsafe conditions and while it does allow the county, if there's an immediate threat, to take action very quickly, under less immediate circumstances, we would provide notice. The hope, I think I can speak for everyone in saying the hope would be that folks voluntarily remove upon notice, whatever is left behind on public property, which is causing the problem. If they don't, after that notice and an opportunity to remove, the county would have the ability to do so. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions that the board may have.
Supervisor Follendorf, your light's on.
Yes, it is. Thank you for bringing this. Watching what the city of Sonora has been doing, it has been successful. And I think one of the things that we have forgotten in some of the conversations, and why this is a sensitive topic, is we are a natural resource area, and the impact to our streams and our trail systems and other recreation areas have been impacted by this. And it's only a matter of time that we start to see the unintended consequences of that, and having to do more cleanup than we have anticipated to rehabilitate our environment. So, thank you.
Any other board comments? I will say this, excuse me, Supervisor Stopper, go. You're up.
Kind of to your district, but you border me, and when fires start there, they end up in
They
my
don't
district.
start in your district and come to mine?
Generally not. They've always started in yours. But they haven't made it from my district to yours yet. Except for the part that you took from me, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, beyond the subtle jokes, we have had encampments start fires in our area, and it's of concern. At the same time, we need to be concerned with the people and where they're going afterwards, But, this piece is constructed in a way, from my reading, to address immediate threats. And I can appreciate this being brought forward to me. I mean, I want to thank Matt Brock for bringing it to my attention in the past, and drumming up for the San Andreas area. Moving on into this, it seems like it is going to be hard to address in a lot of instances. It's very refined. It doesn't have a lot of teeth, so it's going to be specific in what situations we can use it in. And the only question moving forward is how will enforcement be addressed?
And I think just from my perspective, as I mentioned, I think this is designed less to be punitive and more to really just address problems and allow the county to clean up unsafe conditions. And so that was definitely what I sort of had an eye to when drafting.
Enforcement.
I hear you, Supervisor Stopper, and I will just, to say that, the courts have definitely limited the ability of local jurisdictions, even if we wanted to kind of criminalize a lot of this behavior, and we are kind of operating within a restricted legal area. And so, I think that's another reason why this is more just hoping to give us practical tools to be able to clean up, as opposed to maybe punishment.
I do read that in the safety and environmental concerns, and those are pretty specific, and I can appreciate those ends. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say some of this has become.
Okay, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead, Gary.
Some of it's become very eminent here or noticeable here with the current weather conditions, things that we're having with the water flow going down some of the creeks, some of these encampments, and some of the places are under bridges that are critical to us that could block the water flow and back it up. We've had some instances that's kind of happened. So we're looking, and even some drain areas that have been affected. So we're looking to make sure that we have the ability to be able to go in and clean it up, hopefully get it done before something critical really does happen. It comes back on us. Supervisor Garamendi.
I don't have much to add, but I want to thank Kate Allen, Matt Brock, Mark Bolger for bringing these concerns forward. And this is not, this piece of ordinance here, this ordinance, or writing a piece of ordinance, a different job, is really about not criminalizing people for being homeless. We have some really great and dedicated people in our county, and if people need help, we are there for them. Housing, substance abuse, all the pieces that contribute to homelessness, we stand ready to assist. What this really is about is life and safety. We had these floods, we can't have debris under bridges. We can't have people living under there for fires, other critical infrastructure, cell phone things. This is about the safety of the entire community, not trying to penalize any one person or group of people. It's about keeping the entire community safe. And thank you very much for all the work that's gone into this.
Yes, and I want to open it up for public comments, but before I do, Kate, Matt, Mark, thank you very much for working with us on this and getting it done. Thank you very much. Sheriff, you have a comment?
Good morning. Comments and some concerns. We have to, and I appreciate the ordinance. I think it's going to help immensely with the problems that we have. Some of the concerns I have, we have a bridge, and I'll just use this particular one because it's right there on Highway 12 by the Zippy Mart. That's a Caltrans-owned bridge. We had some homeless underneath there. We tried to have them removed, and Caltrans said, we don't care. So it limits what we can do when they're on technically state property. So I want people to be aware of that. I don't want the sheriff's office to be the one that everybody calls and says, hey, somebody's living underneath this bridge in this creek, and we need the sheriff's office to come and make them move. That is not what this ordinance is designed for. And I want to make sure that we're clear about that. I guess one of my questions and concerns would be is who's going to clean this debris up? Because that's not my job. I hate to use that, but that's not my job. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Public Works, if it's going to be, who it's going to be, is going to be co-compliance. I don't have the manpower to go in there and clean this stuff up. I don't have a problem having my folks go in and tell the people, look, you need to gather your stuff up and move on. That's fine, but please, I don't want the public calling the sheriff's office and saying, you need to make these people move and get their stuff out of here. And I know that the ordinance isn't written that way because it's not criminalized, but I just want to be sure that we're all on the same page. I'm here to help out as many people as I can. The folks that are residentially challenged choose to be that way. So it's hard to get them to move from where they're at.
And Rick, you're right, and we have no authority over the state of California property.
Right.
But under that bridge, you know where all that stuff ended up down.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand.
That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
And just to speak, Sheriff, to that, you're right, the ordinance doesn't specify who has to, who at the county has to perform these functions. Right. It authorizes the county in general to perform the functions, so that's certainly something that we will have to, coordinate and put procedures into place internally to kind of figure that out.
Right. And there's a section in here, and I guess for clarification, because it says right here, says if adopted, the CEO or designee will create a list of facilities and infrastructures that should be designated as critical infrastructure. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when we decide what those infrastructures are.
And I'm sure we will.
So All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Other public comment?
Thank you, and good morning again, Matt Brock, San Andreas. I want to say thank you for the work that went into this, really appreciate it. From where I'm coming from on this is a very sensitive subject, and my heart goes out to all the folks struggling in our county with homelessness and being unhoused. For me, it hits home because I live here, I work in the city of San Jose as a fireman, and I witnessed that community, San Jose going from the safest big city in the U.S. to a place that you wouldn't want to take your kids. And I believe that this is because there's been zero enforcement or foresight in stopping the blight and abandoned RVs that are lived in, just general dumping of waste of all kinds. We fight fires on homeless encampments every single day, every shift. And you're standing in an RV, it's leaking raw sewage in the curb, there's needles and human feces. And I feel like if we need to get ahead of this as a county and instead of trying to chase it once it's already arrived, and it's starting to arrive. Personally, the bridge at Treat Avenue was what really opened my eyes to this. Being at Turner Park, trying to enjoy the day with your family there, and you notice individuals going under the bridge, and you're like, gosh, I really don't want to go look under there. But you do, and you realize that Treat Avenue Bridge has 3 tunnels or 3 bores, right? You look and you see that 2 of them are completely blocked with mattresses and all kinds of waste. I don't want to get too graphic, but just really unsafe, unsanitary things for the environment, for our community. The other tunnel was blocked with a refrigerator that was just there for some reason. I don't know the rhyme or reason of why individuals collect the stuff they do, but there was like broken generator motors and just all kinds of stuff. We spent time, myself and some other volunteers in town, spent our time and our money going and cleaning that out. And thank goodness we did, because if the rains would have come, if we did this in a blue October, and if we would allow it to stay clogged, blocked, in my amateur opinion, the water would have at least knocked the asphalt off the top of the bridge, okay? I'm betting that the water would have went completely around the bridge and eroded into the support structures too. So that's where I'm coming from on this, and there's other folks that we all support this. And like I said before, thank you for the energy on this, and we're hoping to move forward.
Your time's up. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Mr. Bolger.
Supervisor Toffanelli, Chair Toffanelli, excuse me. Greetings on this beautiful spring morning. Thank you for the time on this. Thank you to staff for preparing this. I'm coming at this from several angles. One is a business owner here in San Andreas that is in a unique position of having Caltrans, right away on one side, county property on one side, and then the museum, which is also county property on the other side. I think, we can all agree that the issue with housing in this county, in this state, is beyond the scope of this ordinance. If we could wave a magic wand, I'm sure we all would, but we can't. So county staff having the tools to address this, is this a fix-all? Of course not. Is it a place to start? Absolutely. I think we can all agree that equality is important in our society. And as a property owner that doesn't necessarily like being told what to do by the state of California or Calaveras County, there's realities of that. We can't camp on our properties for more than X amount of days in a row, X amount of days out of the year. I think that, public property is just that. We're all percentage equity owners in that property. And I think that we have to have some accountability for individuals in our society that choose to use that for whatever purpose. So if we're going to hold private property owners accountable for what they can do on their land, I think that members of this public have to be accountable for what they can do on public property. This is a start. Beyond that, I wanted to say it was kind of funny watching Districts 1 and 5 talking about trading fires. you should see what Amador trades with us in District 2. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Kate, you want to speak?
Too true.
I'm Kate Allen from San Andreas. Thank you. Recently appointed to Parks and Rec Commission, so I appreciate that today. Thank you very much. And just wanted to echo what Matt and Mark already said and just urge the board to adopt this resolution as a way to protect public safety. It's an issue that is going to haunt Calaveras County for years to come. It's something we're going to continue to talk about for years to come. It's a huge problem in California. It's a great starting place. And like Matt said, if we don't start to get our ducks in order, we're really going to regret that. And I think giving the county some feet to stand on here in terms of being preventative about letting this problem get overwhelming is really important. So thank you for entertaining it. I hope everybody adopts the ordinance and we can move forward and keep addressing the problem in a positive, productive way. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other public comments? Hearing none. Do we have any comments online?
There are no online public comments.
Okay, we will bring it back to the board. Is there any other board comments? If not, open for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Supervisor Hubbard. We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second by Supervisor Stopper. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Move on to item number 30. This is a resolution for administrative offices. Adopt a resolution approving the reappointment of Sarah Edwards on the position of County Council for a new period of 4 years, effective May 11, 2024, along with an increase in base salary effective April 8, 2023. Ex-CEO, ex-interim CEO, Mr. Pedro. Good morning.
We'll see if I can be successful in retirement the second time. No. Well, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, it's my privilege to be here before you today to bring back to you something that you asked me to bring. In your February closed session, with respect to your county council, you wanted to have me come back with a resolution that would provide Ms. Edwards with a new 4-year term. And just to be clear, she's finishing her third of her first 4. So you guys are on the ball and trying to, tying her in for another 4 years. And that speaks volumes of your confidence in Ms. Edwards. And at that point, I know your opinion is what counts, but I got to say, over my 7 months, here now, I could not have accomplished nearly, with all of you in the departments, I could not have accomplished a fraction of it. It wasn't for the technical expertise and good judgment, of your council. Just saying. I've worked in 3 counties now and worked with 6 different county councils, and I also put her right near the top of that group. She is I shouldn't say this, but a hot commodity. But no, she is sought after. People of her skill set, they are sought after. She is what I call an impact player. She touches just about everything that you guys, need to get done. She sees it, she goes through it, she adds, value to it. She raises the red flag when she needs to for all of us. She enables the departments to do what they need to do and basically it's just a critical part of the machine that allows us to, provide services to all of the residents of this county. You also asked me to come back and schedule on this agenda a discussion about a compensation adjustment for Ms. Edwards. I have done the studies looking at the survey counties that others had looked at. I've looked at the motherlode region. I could have come back and presented to you, a full burner up to market kind of presentation. Your board wanted to be, positive, but we didn't need to go quite that far. So what's presented to you today is a reasonable step. It is not close to market. You have to be putting another, $10,000, $20,000 at least, to begin to approach, market for that, for that position. And that proposal is to go ahead and increase her base annual salary by $9,859 per year. For this year, if we began it, you wanted to, have it take effect right away rather than wait. So the next payroll begins on, pay period begins on April 8th of this year. It'll only be less than $3,000 impact on this year's budget. And she certainly has the savings, unfortunately, because she has two vacant deputy county council positions. Again, why do we do this now? I know your board is sensitive to this. I know our employees are sensitive to this. We are on a mission to erase a large structural deficit. Your board has addressed already 2/3 of that. And you have one more leg to go, and you intend to bring this thing into balance as you approach the preliminary budget. I've also commented when we were talking to different, the labor leaders, that while we do that necessary work, your board would always reserve the right, where they saw it made sense, to make selected decisions where you might make adjustments throughout the organization. And you certainly have done that. Not just with executive pay, but also adjustments that affect many people within this organization. And just to put things in perspective on that point, because I know that's just a sensitive matter, I've asked Ms. Hawkins if she would come up and just give a brief on that, so that just for the public to know and our employees to know that you've paid attention not only in a couple cases of executive, some of your upper executives, but also for many of your line workers. So just if Ms. Hawkins could come up and give you that information.
Good morning, Chair Toffanelli, members of the board, Judy Hawkins, Human Resources and Risk Director. And then just to reiterate what interim CEO Pedro has said, is that, we do understand the concern over recent increases for appointed positions. But I would also like to point out, one of our struggles with appointed positions is that they have one salary. They don't have 5 steps like most of our employees. In fact, only appointed and elected positions only have the 1 step. And so where we may have an employee that over the next 3 years, besides COLAs that are bargained, they also may go 15% increases through their steps or move up in a series. We have many classifications that have a series where they can be promoted up without the position coming back before the board. And then they also have several more years ahead of them of merit increases. Our appointed positions don't have that. They will, often we have COLAs for them, but they don't have merit increases. So it puts us in a very tough position when we are trying to retain and recruit people, because we don't have those steps to work within. Also, we have been very open with all of the bargaining units. We have discussed our structural deficit, but the fact that we would look at individual positions, and we have looked at individual positions. In fact, we brought before you to be adopted on March 14th, several changes to classifications. For the fiscal manager, we added another we made it a series. We went from just a single position to a 1-2 series, which allows people not only to move through their merits, but also move up into that second level and get additional increases. We also approved a 5% increase for clinicians and supervising clinicians, so that we're able to try to recruit and retain those very critical positions within mental health. And we added an additional level to the district attorney services specialist series. And there's now a 4 level. So there is more progression for staff to be able to move up. And then finally, the correctional techs, we took from a single position classification to a 1-2-3 series that will also allow staff to move up, and also makes it easier for us to recruit, because those with experience we can recruit into higher levels, and so it gives us that flexibility. With all of these changes that we have made, so we have your board granted over $100,000 in increases for these positions. And so it is very important for us that we keep talking with departments. We keep finding ways to recruit and retain while keeping a close eye on the budget and continue to try and fix that. So right now, getting ready to go into preliminary budget, I'm having many conversations with departments across the county on how we can fix these issues while working within the structure.
Thank you, Judy.
All right.
Craig, you have more to say?
Well, just, that concludes the presentation, and recommend you approve the resolution taking both actions.
Okay, Sarah, do you have anything you would like to say? Yes or no? You don't have to say anything.
I'll just say what a pleasure it is working for the board, and, really thank you for considering me to be reappointed. It really has been a dream come true to get to move home to Calaveras County and work for the county and for this board, so thank you.
All right, is there any board questions or comments? Supervisor Stopper.
I've always been a passionate advocate for the rank and file as we move forward. In the past, I've made certain votes that, were no's in support of the rank and file when it comes to administration and other areas. But, when it comes to our county council, we've been very fortunate to acquire someone not only that's so young within the ranks of her colleagues, but that is very well educated, I have full confidence in. Someone that reminds me of my fourth grade teacher, Miss Karen Mindy, that she's with her hawk eyes always watching over me, making sure I don't cross the line and throwing that pencil or hitting somebody with that dart in class. Because, while maintaining our own composure and, being calm and forward and presenting in a way that you want to hear what she has to say. She has my respect. And for that sole reason, we're very lucky to have someone that does want to live in Calaveras County and appreciates Calaveras County. And she would have many opportunities to go elsewhere in this state or anywhere she wanted to go. And I want to do everything I can to retain her for the future. So I support this.
Any other board comment? Supervisor Huberty.
I would just like to say thank you to the county council and for bringing me on board so well and always being there. I really appreciate you.
Any other? Okay, well, the public comments. I think he's been standing.
My name is Christopher Budner. I'm a Murphy's resident, owner of Murphy's Witch Walk, and I'll be reading from a prepared statement. I staunchly oppose Agenda Item 30, County Council Edwards Reappointment Resolution. I've previously addressed the intentional and concerted trespasses made upon my personal and professional reputation and businesses leading to suppression of tourism and entrepreneurialism. I allege these persistent offenses and orchestrated collusion were initiated by a Murphy's Legacy business owner with whom I had a legal business dispute that was of no concern to anyone other than the defendant and I. All county district supervisors and executive level staffers received and continue to ignore 2 years of documents relevant to this matter that reveal details of tortious interference, restraint of trade, trade libel, false light, and trademark violations beginning in June 2021, continuing to this day. I further allege the aforementioned individual initiated a premeditated and sustained harassment campaign against me to have me evicted from my home, discredit me in the business community.
What this has to do?
I'm getting to it.
Okay, we'll give you some leeway here to get to it.
Discredit me in my business community and attempt to intimidate me into dropping my federal legal filing. This individual's tactics included enlisting the witting and unwitting participation
of my landlord, neighbors, local business bureaus, and targeting my 90-year-old mother seated here as a means of coercive leverage. Over 2 years, I've filed 11 harassment reports with the Sheriff's Department, culminating in a June 2022 restraining order hearing pursued by necessity when concern for my mother's physical safety and my own. These acts of harassment escalated to a veiled threat of violence. County government leadership was again alerted to this matter with my plea for help on March 24th, 2022 in mailed and emailed correspondence to County Councilor Edwards and then Supervisor and Board Chair Follendorf. All district supervisors have since received detailed supporting documents more than once in the last year, yet there remains zero responsiveness to my escalated issues. This deafening silence appears to reveal a cover-up of conflicts of economic interests, institutionalized cronyism, and exclusionary collusion between ethically challenged Business Bureau management and board members. Alarmingly, several of these individuals are presently or were taxpayer-salaried elected government officials. Madam CEO, over the past month, I've included you in written correspondence so you're not blindsided by this matter in your first week. No one in this government should be reappointed with a pay raise until these alleged breaches of oath and abuses of power are thoroughly probed in a sweeping ethics and oversight investigation that starts with following the money to expose undisclosed conflicts of economic interest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Any other public comment?
Thank you.
Andrea?
It's going to be hard to follow. Okay. Good morning, Board of Supervisors and CEOs. Since we have some new folks, I figured I should introduce myself. My name is Andrea Colavita Pinkham, and I'm the field representative from SCIU 1021, and you should not believe everything you've heard about me. I really am delightful. But I digress. Please understand, so I'm here about agenda item 30 and almost $10,000 raise for Ms. Edwards, County Council, and please understand, my issue is not with Ms. Edwards. I'm sure she does a wonderful job. I wouldn't know, because your Human Resources Director uses outside counsel for all of our interactions, so I've actually never been in a meeting with her. Nonetheless, I'm sure she's a very talented county council. While I appreciate the preemptive strike by Human Resources this morning, once again, the board chooses wage increases for executives while those who provide the direct services to your most vulnerable constituents are left scrambling to make ends meet. Do you guys have any idea how this looks to your workforce? They found this out the day after that they heard that there's a recruiting hold on some of their positions until June. So what's a recruiting hold? Well, I call it a hiring freeze. It may not be across the board, but those in the affected departments feel the pain. You feel rejected even if you're not part of that hiring freeze. Substance abuse counselors, CPS workers, which you guys saw in the presentation this morning, do the work in your communities and are significantly underpaid compared to their counterparts. How do you think they felt when they heard this news? Do you expect workers to continue to do the work of 2 to 3 people indefinitely? There is a breaking point, and it's coming. This morning's presentation on the state of families in Calaveras County was sobering. The need for services is astounding. One begs to ask, do you care about the level of services being delivered in your community? If you do, you cannot continue down this path of rewarding executives to the exclusion of those providing the services. Thank you, and I hope to see Ms. Edwards in some of those meetings instead of outside counsel. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Andrea. Any other public comment? Sheriff.
Good morning, Sheriff DiBasilio, Calaveras County. I would like to say that Ms. Edwards is worth her weight in gold. She has helped our department, the Sheriff's Office, which in turn helps the county out extremely well. She's very talented in what she does for us.
I have nothing but high praise for her. I worked with her before she was the actual county council. But now that she's made quite the impression upon myself and my staff. The extra $10,000 or thereabouts that she's making, she has already made that up in litigations. So she's, again, well worth her weight in gold. So thank you for keeping her on. And your husband still owes me a phone call for the motorcycle ride.
Any other public comments on this item? Seeing none in the room, is there any online?
There are no online public comments.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Is there any other comments from supervisors? Supervisor Stopper, you have a comment?
Not a comment. I'd like to make a motion.
But Supervisor, you want to say something first? I just want to say, Sarah, I want to thank you for at least staying for another 4 years. We got you for 5 years now. It's been a pleasure working with you. You're very knowledgeable, and when you at least when we call you, you answer the phone, you get right back to us, or you send us a text, I'm in the meeting or whatever, I'll call you and you get right back to us. And then you answer all of our questions. You give us your opinion and your advice on things, and I really appreciate it. It's been very nice working with you. I appreciate it, and I agree with what the sheriff had to say. So with that, a motion?
Ms. Fullendorf. I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Stopper, a second by Supervisor Fullendorf. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We will move on to the next item, which is Supervisor's announcements. In compliance with Government Code 53232.3D, board members shall provide brief reports on any meetings attended at the expense of the local agency and may make other announcements or report out. We'll start with Supervisor Hubbard.
Yes, Chair, I attended the Central Sierra Title Support Agency meeting with you. Thank you very much for your guidance.
You did. Supervisor Garamendi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. There's nothing I'm required to report, but I think this might be my first board meeting I've ever been to. I think we went 5-0 on every vote.
Yeah.
Which is pretty, maybe we're working well together. Thank you very much.
Supervisor Fullendorf.
Yes, on Saturday, first I want to thank Jacob from Public Works. He took time off on his Saturday to come down with me to the CSA Diamond 20 for a meeting on what that CSA wants to do next. And we walked out of there with them deciding to be an advisory committee, which is a huge feat. So it was really well attended, and I just thank Public Works for allowing their time over the weekend to come out and have that and help me out. The other comment I have is thank you, Craig. It is his last meeting, and I just want to say thank you for coming over the river and helping us out. And a big, huge shout out to your wife for allowing allowing you to come over here and commit that time. I know that was a difficult decision, and I'm glad to see that you're going to be able to go back to the grandkids and enjoy time with her again. So thank you for everything that you have done.
Supervisor Stopper.
In general, not a lot to report, but hopefully soon there's a lot of stuff culminating with SEDS and everything else going forward. To follow up on Ms. Fullendorf's, thank you, Craig. Also thank the grandkids for the time they gave up with you. I hope you can get back to them. I know I missed enough time with my own, so just appreciate you overall. The words can't express the appreciation that I give you. And Ms. Hitchcock, welcome. I look forward and, beyond,
what I usually say is cautiously optimistic. I'm optimistic about how we can move forward. So I'll omit the cautious this time. I think we've taken the steps and to move forward with success, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay, I attended a LAFCO meeting. Supervisor Garamendi was there. We talked review on some CSAs within the county. I also attended the Central Sierra Child Support Agency meeting, Martin. And I just want to bring up, Craig, thank you for the time that you spent with us and stepping in at a time that you did. And it's truly appreciated, I think, by the entire board here, the time that you spent. And there was times that you took phone calls on Saturdays, you took phone calls on Sundays, you had kids screaming in the background, and we could hear them when we were talking to you, but you still took the time to answer the phone and convey whatever you needed to talk to us, whatever the conversation was that we were calling you for. I really appreciate it. And as Amanda said, thank you for crossing the river and try and get back tonight. Try and get back across that river. So again, thank you and enjoy your retirement for the second time. And hopefully this time you get all the things done that you thought you were going to get done when you retired the first time, including the cruise, the European cruise that you were looking forward to. So thank you very much. And on that, I really want to thank you, Teresa, for coming on board and welcome you. And we look forward to working with you going forward and all the things that we have in the county and that comes up and comes forward to us, whether they're emergencies or long-planned things like the landfill today. And we hope that you get up to speed real quickly. It seems like you have. You met with a number of departments, and Craig is showing you around. And again, thank you so much. Yes.
I hope to provide the excellent customer service that Craig has provided to all of you and make sure that your questions get answered as timely as possible. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will go into closed session and finish our closed session off.